Who's starting it? You want to start it?
La 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 la. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. What's up? I'm Dani.
Marcy.
And I'm Robert, and this is
Let's Talk
Theater,
Theater,
the podcast.
The podcast. So we're calling it a podcast. Is this a podcast?
I mean, it's a little unconventional.
But in what way?
It's unconventional.
Okay, first of all, we're
because
using
we've
lapels.
and we've never done this before.
That's
No.
real bougie, I think.
We don't have the typical table setting.
Nope.
Because we need to take it a step further. We can't do normal, traditional theater, so let's take it in this route.
So that's what we're
Here we
doing
are,
this semester.
Right? Here
Yeah.
we are. Who would have thought? Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us.
2021, y'all. And we're starting it off with something completely new that we have no idea what we're doing. But here we are.
It's the best
Here we
time to
are.
do
It
it.
looks great.
Best time
we
to
have
do it.
lights.
So we have to go back to school, right? And I have to teach a course on stage makeup. So I've been racking my brain because, I mean, it's makeup.
Yeah.
This is during a
Very
pandemic.
hands-on.
We can't be close. What do we use in makeup? Our hands and our face. Disease, you know? I've been thinking about this issue and how to teach this class in a time like this. And last night I was meditating, right? Because, you know, that's a thing, right? People do a lot of, and not meditating. By meditating, I mean I was scrolling through Instagram. You've seen these pictures of people with these plastic sheets with arm plastic things
Oh, yeah.
that, you know, they're hugging each other because,
Seen one of
you
like
know,
a nursery home.
so that triggered like, hey,
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
why don't we make something like that so I
Yeah.
can do a demonstration on somebody's face? Because it is hard to get around not using
Yeah.
somebody's actual face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could just cop out and post videos of somebody else's demonstrations on
Nah.
makeup, but that's not what they paid for.
No,
Right.
no.
You know, they came to learn from a person in front of them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that. I
To
think also other theater people who have practiced theater for a long time can understand that this has really taught us to be able to kind of like overcome these obstacles, because that's mostly what theater is
Definitely.
you know, figuring out how to do things
Together.
cheaply, quickly, efficiently.
Yeah.
And because there's always a problem. If you know, you've done theater, you know
There's a
that there's
problem.
always a problem.
And then we
Every
got to get
step
to
of
the
the way.
solution, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
always
we
a
get to
solution.
that solution.
Totally.
And quickly. And not just
Efficiently,
quickly,
like you
but
said.
efficiently
Yeah.
and well done.
So maybe we should present our introduce
Yes.
our first guest, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have a guest.
Yes, yes. Our guest comes to us from across the lobby.
Woo!
Really, really far away, like 10 steps. 10,
it's like
20,
30.
It's
30
like 30.
feet.
From
He
here?
is our boss. His name is Jason. He is the chair of our department. But yeah,
Let's give him a round of applause.
round of applause for Jason.
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, can you tell our viewers a little bit about what you do and with the college itself and your job?
Ah!
I wouldn't call it a job. It's,
Well, you see.
It's a calling. No. Yeah, so I'm the chair of the department, and basically I pretty much work with y'all and with the administration and making sure that our classes are getting done, that we have our classes, that we have our students are taken care of, y'all are taken care of, that we have money to do to do the things that we need to do. Thank you, administration.
Yes.
Totally. Thanks.
more money,
and
please.
and in terms of everything else, just trying to find the best way to teach our students and prepare them for their next steps, which is either going to university or going into the workforce, and do what we do, which is to we're creatives. We do theater. We do all these other things, and to be able to do that and do that well. And I think that's mainly what my main priority is to make sure that our students are ready to go with that. And, with all of us together, that's what we work on.
Yeah.
So I would say, in a nutshell, that would be what it is, and it's just making sure that our students are prepared and inspired and, they're ready to go once they leave us.
Yeah.
So Hey, two of them are here.
Yes.
Interesting. We've all kind of worked together for a really long time now. I know Marcy, myself, and Jason all started at a different position here in the institution. Also Dani, actually.
Dani
Yeah.
too.
And we've all kind of, what's it called? Gone up the ladder to where we are, and we've like really worked together in a very, very different capacity. Each year, I feel like there's something different each time that like that happens to our department. Mind you, there's 4 of us. That
4 of us.
always
Five,
like
but-
Who's the
pushes our
5th one?
button.
Vanessa.
All
our
right.
Oh, yeah, Vanessa.
secretary.
Sorry,
Come
Vanessa.
on, we love you, Vanessa.
Stuff we want.
I love you.
Yes.
She tells us how much money we got.
Yeah,
And
she
she
keeps
makes
us on
amazing
check.
cakes, by the way.
Yeah, which is it's pretty great. And I enjoy working with all of us. It's nice. We always put ourselves we keep ourselves on our toes always, which is great. So right before this, we were talking about the pandemic, of course, this whole thing that's been happening.
So why don't we talk about like what we were about to do right before, and then like what happened because of it, and how we just started to like transition into
What we're
we
doing
kind
now?
of, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, luckily we were about to do a show that was easily
We were,
Produced.
and it was
transferable into another form.
our first cabaret,
Cabaret.
and
Yeah.
it was meant for, you know, our
artists with original works
to
showcase people,
their talent,
Yeah.
right? And we auditioned an acoustic guitar player. We auditioned a band. We auditioned singers. We auditioned
Comedians,
Poets.
dancers. We auditioned
poets, comedians.
what is it when
Comedians.
the
Stage
karate
combat.
Oh, stage combat. That's
yeah.
right.
And we had this show that we were going to put up as our 10-year anniversary since we've been here for 10 years. South Texas College Theater was founded in
10 years ago.
2010 or 2008.
2008.
In 2008.
So our math is wrong.
Anyways,
Regardless, it's been more than a decade,
Well, we didn't start
and
doing
that's
theater
a big
officially
deal.
like until
South Texas College Theater didn't get established until I came on board. Which is
Yeah,
2010.
because it was South
2010.
Texas Players
Yeah.
before, and
Oh,
it
wow,
was
really?
STP. The only thing that
Yeah.
they had issues with it being players because we're not players.
Yeah.
You know, like
what
the
do you mean
players, like a player.
Like a player.
Oh.
Like, oh, you're a player.
Oh, like
you're
a
a
player.
player.
Player in a
Oh.
play like that?
Like
No,
Marcy,
not
you a
like-
player.
I'm not. Oh, in that regard.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
So
not nice.
it wasn't
that's a fun fact that I did not know.
I don't
Yeah.
know either.
So
and
very
it was
cool.
STP, so then it changed to
Stone Temple
ST.
Pilots.
Yeah, Stone Temple Pilots.
Right, or
Yeah.
South Texas Theater.
Okay.
STCC.
Yeah, South Texas College Theater, STC.
Can you imagine if we were
T.
still called STCC? It'd be like South Texas
man, I
Community
know.
College Theater. It's too many words.
Yeah.
Way too many words.
Yeah.
I already feel like South Texas College Theater is too many words.
Really? I've gotten so used to it that like.
I mean, it's nice
it
that we can
just-
abbreviate.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Okay.
saying STC Theater.
too.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
it
there you go.
just
Yes.
rolls off a lot better.
I tried to say me
Well,
too
yeah.
and me three,
Yeah.
and I said me three.
Yeah.
What?
Anyway, sorry.
So okay, back to what we were talking about. We were doing the cabaret. The cabaret happened,
what we were
right?
talking
We
about. No, it didn't happen.
auditioned. Wait, well, we auditioned. We got our cast. We got everything, and then everybody had to stay home.
Ivy and Rona.
then
Rona
Rona
came
got
knocking on
here.
the door.
Rona said, "I'm here."
And you're staying home, and you're not
So
going back to work.
We
And
did
that's all it
not-
was.
So spring break happened, and we did not return.
No.
That show got canceled. We pushed it. We literally had to cancel everything,
Yeah.
and we pushed everything
Kept pushing it back.
back.
Until
You know,
further
because like
notice.
most people were like, oh, this will be over in a while. Oh, maybe another. Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, never
No,
mind.
and that didn't happen. So ultimately, what we ended up having to do after the quarantine, we had to literally sit back and get on these amazing Zoom meetings that everybody loves, just because
That was
we
fun.
can communicate fantastically through these. So
I mean,
we
I
had
especially enjoyed the ones where you didn't have to have your camera on.
Oh, those are great.
I would lay in bed. I don't know about you guys.
That's the reason why we always saw your forehead.
Anyway.
So yeah, we had Zoom meetings and we had to revamp everything that we had talked about. So what did we do? Well, I was bored. I started like reading again mythology, and that's my thing, and like old stories. So I redid Medea and rewrote it, and we did this virtual thing to it. But before that, the cabaret. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. The cabaret, we ended up just doing like a virtual thing with that.
We're just jumping to video.
Yeah.
Or
We're just
film.
jumping to
I
virtual.
don't know
I
what
mean,
you would want to label it.
if you think
just
about
digital.
it, when that pandemic happened, it was really the initial start of us going towards like the virtual world, if you will, was our website. Our web page, should I say, that the school helped us out with, which thank you.
Thank you, PR department.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
And
Thank you, Dean.
Yes.
And then that's when we were like, okay, then let's use this web page to start like putting up all of our content, from pictures to what we want to do, which was how you're saying, go virtual. So we did cabaret and we went virtual, but we only called like 3 of our artists. We didn't want to call everyone back.
It was very intimate sessions, I think, where we literally, it was just, I know it was Dani, myself, and one other board op for sound, and we were just
And the performer, that was it.
Yeah, and the performer. And we were all in our own little corner, keeping our distance. The performer was on our little tiny stage, and it was nice. I think it was a great experience for everybody. I know we had one of our STC teachers.
They were all
Erica.
STC folk, if you will.
Yeah.
It was
Erica and Jaime.
it was our student.
Yeah, what does Erica do, Jason?
She's
Erica
an
is the English instructor,
English
and she's a poet, and she's a
Published.
awesome
amazing. Yeah.
published. And hi, Erica, I love you.
Yeah. And we had our drama
Get
student.
up.
She's our drama major, Bree. She also had a set, and the music department's guitar instructor. He also played a couple songs. on
Jaime
his guitar.
Garcia.
Jaime Garcia.
And hopefully we get to reach out to the rest of the people
Yeah.
that we had cast, because there was some really
There was.
There was
Awesome
really
people.
good
great
ones.
people.
It was really bittersweet to be doing it too,
Yeah.
because of everything that was happening, obviously, and it was just.
Hard.
It was nice to like do and continue what we do, but in again going to like something that is unconventional for us. We don't,
something not
we
completely
don't,
unfamiliar.
we don't do this. We don't like, now we have all this camera gear. Now we have all this like,
Cables and
editing
everything.
software. Just we're
I mean,
really.
it forced me to go back to my old days of doing film, because
Yes,
my
that's
bachelor's has been both film and theater, and I hadn't touched that stuff in so long.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, it was kind of like riding a bike, but a really bad bike.
Yeah.
Not that because
It was a very bumpy ride.
film technology is just evolves so quickly
It
that
has.
if you leave it for like a year, you're
You're behind.
and
you're behind.
you
You're behind.
you left it for quite a
at least 6-7
Yeah.
years.
Like you were like,
Wow.
if you were like looking at this in sets of computers, like,
Yeah.
you would be on an
What is
Apple
this?
IIe, which was never even like available to you.
No.
And like now, like you're coming back, you're
Yeah.
like, wait, what is this? And
Yeah,
it's so
it's-
different. Yeah.
So I guess to answer my own question, we just basically went virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we really like went outside of our norm to continue to put out some sort of content, whether it was the cabaret or Medea, which Robert chimed in about, where he adapted it. And all of these are, by the way, are on our YouTube channel. So if you want to
Yes,
check them out,
definitely.
please do give us some likes.
STC Theatre.
Or even
And
Let's Talk Theater.
Let's
Let's
Talk
Talk
Theater.
Theater.
That was written by a student of ours, Connor,
And
and
Marcy.
herself. So yeah, and like all of these things really like kind of opened up a new learning experience for all of us.
Yeah.
Like you said, like I learned some film in my bachelor's as well, but like I never thought I would actually continue with film, and to be quite honest, I'm enjoying it. I love film.
So I do
Yeah.
and
I do
theater,
enjoy
so-
film a lot,
Yeah.
but it does get a little expensive or
Oh,
tedious
totally.
or
Tedious, yeah.
it's
It's different from live.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It really
there's
is.
a different
Everything.
feeling,
It's the-
Everything.
the
Every-
everything of
experience.
it, and even the post production. I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
the part where like you're thinking like,
I
once
could have
you've
done this.
When you
Yeah.
once you've done the recording, you're
Yeah.
great, but then
Yeah.
you're like, it's just a performance. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
but
or-
then like
When
then
you're
after you
editing,
do the recording, you're just like, oh god, I
find
Yeah.
gotta
things
edit.
that
Or
Like,
like,
oh, no.
I wasn't recording.
yeah.
Or like the mic went
Yeah.
out. The
Or
Or I could
battery
have done
died,
this,
you
or I
know?
could have
There
done
was
that.
no sound. Like
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I literally felt like I was thrown in a pool, and I had to
like
figure
swim.
it out. Yeah, that's literally how I felt because
not
I don't
even
know.
a pool.
That's
it
how
was
I
the
learned
freaking
best.
ocean.
It was the
was like
ocean,
It
man.
was the
Ocean,
ocean.
high tide.
I had no experience
Yeah.
in editing. I have no experience in film. Theater, yes. Film, editing, nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
And like the fact that this pandemic struck and then it was like, hey, guess what? There's this whole thing you didn't learn.
Yeah.
You gotta do it like in a
Now.
month.
Yeah.
And throw a video out. Thanks.
Okay, Mike.
And by the way, your video has the most views.
It's the useful one.
Yeah,
so
our
true.
tutorial, which
On
like
How to
is
mask.
on there, yes,
This
on our
mask
masks.
right here.
These are all made by us.
A la Marcy. This is Marcy's design.
Yeah.
Actually.
If there was anything positive you can take out of this pandemic,
Uh-huh.
what would it be? Jason.
For me, it's got to be what we're doing now because this has completely, pushed us out of our comfort zone in ways that we never thought. And, just historically, what we've been known to do
Right.
in terms of our productions when it was traditional theater type of work.
Yeah.
We've always found interesting ways to do things that, because we would always want to like up the bar for ourselves, in terms of production, in terms of costuming, whatever it was, even approach in directing or what have you. And then here comes this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a surprise that we were like, okay, let's do virtual.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
everything that we've done in the past, we've always said, okay, this production, we were going to try this approach. We're going to do all recyclable and, repurpose things and whatever. And that's a challenge to begin with.
Yeah.
And, to see us do this with virtual
I never
work.
realized that. We've always, every show, we're like, okay, this is our one thing that we want to,
Yeah.
work around. I don't want any walls,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, didn't we start with the whole, no more flats.
No
I'm
more
done with
flats.
that.
We're done with
Me,
flats.
yeah.
Or what are some of the other things that we've like, I don't want this. Or we're going to do like this.
Well, it just goes back to, okay, I think that the way that it worked out was that we were smart enough to know what we can and can't do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we know our formula now and we know what we can do on our stages. So I think that that's what really helped us. Now, of course, there's a lot of shows that we try to push ourselves, and there's always that one show that we do a year that we're like, this one's going to be the heaviest, biggest show of
Yeah.
our season. And that's where all
And then
of
we
our
back
energy
off on the
goes
other
to.
ones a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
And then those other ones, we're just like, okay, let's be experimental. No walls, no this, no that. Or we're just using projection, or we're just using cubes, or we're just using, but that's the beauty of, I think, of our department is that we like to push ourselves to experiment and experience new theater in ways that people don't do it. And I think that works for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it works
like
for our
innovative.
students. That's what's most important. Because I think about like how students, like when they leave here, like, everything seems to be very conventional. And then with us, like
Yeah.
we come in and we're giving them all of these challenges and problems for them to figure out with us.
Yeah, all these inconveniences.
That's what people forget about small colleges or very small programs is that it actually affords a lot of flexibility and a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah. More one-on-one.
opportunities
Yes.
to do things that you wouldn't be allowed to do in a giant university.
Yeah.
Some of these people in the giant university don't even get to touch a freaking sewing machine if that's
Yeah.
what they're going for in their bachelor's degree.
No,
like
they don't.
I don't, and it's like
No,
maybe
they
that
don't.
works for some people,
Yeah.
but I personally like having, like you said, throwing yourself in the ocean and just going for it. That's
Yeah.
how I started learning everything.
I mean,
and that's how I continue to learn. That's the
Yeah.
way I learn.
And we all
Let's
have
do it.
our
Who cares?
different ways of,
Yeah.
also.
I need to do things, mess things up,
Yeah.
and then see, okay, this is what happened.
I
Let me
mean,
fix it.
Let me
Yeah.
fix it.
Trust me, I gulped a lot of ocean water.
We go very metaphorical here, Robert.
Just throw me in fresh water, please.
Yeah, can it be fresh water, not salt water?
I think what I learned would help me with this pandemic is editing, man.
Yeah.
Like, it just literally threw me into this new thing where, I mean, like, again, I chose not to go to UTRGV because I didn't think I was going to need a film degree. Like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, that's one of the things. I was like, I don't need to be studying that because that is not what I am.
Right.
And honestly, it's not really, it doesn't draw my attention. Not that it's not good, it doesn't draw my attention. But learning it just made me realize, like, you know what, you needed to have learned this for
Yes.
this because of where theater is headed. Like,
Yes.
we're going in this direction where everything is just
Everything should be archived.
plugged. Yeah, and
Everything should be documented.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky that, you know, I think maybe the photo call pictures started, what year do you think?
Man, we've been doing that for a while.
Like,
I mean,
but-
it's a standard thing to
It's
do.
a standard thing to do in theater, yes.
But that we actually have them because we probably lost them along the way
Exactly.
due to changing of computers, changing
Exactly.
of employees.
Exactly.
I
I
don't
think
know.
from the hard drive that I work off of in our little Mac lab, as we like to call it, I think it's back to 2009, and it's very little photos though.
Yeah.
You know, now you see like
those the
my
ones I sent you?
pictures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and it's only like one or two,
Yeah.
or it's like one
Yeah.
picture with a collage, you know, because that's how it was, you know, made
'cause
on
back then
made
was
on
that
Word
collage
document
thing.
or like
We still weren't
PowerPoint.
advanced enough to
And even
archive on a
then-
computer
Yeah.
like
And
we knew
even
was
then,
gonna
like,
make it through the years.
But like Dr. Carroll, I mean, his stuff was like, you know, get my camera, take a picture, take it to Walmart, get it developed,
Yeah.
and it would
they
just
were literally
be,
developed pictures.
they
my
were
God.
they were literally
Just a little,
developed photos.
information. Jack Carroll is our founder of here, South Texas College Theater. He left us a couple years ago, but he is not missed. He was an amazing man. He was my teacher. He was one of my mentors. And this department probably would have not happened if it weren't for him and our very good
Beloved Dr. Monta.
Dr. Monta, who
founded the
also
UTRGV
passed.
program.
She founded the UTRGV and helped Dr. Carroll with South
Starting
Texas
this
College.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you, Dr. Carroll,
Yeah,
for
thank
everything
you.
that you do.
We have a video on that too.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And we have the cool thing is that we have a scholarship, right, Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
It's called
The Dr. John F. Carroll Drama Scholarship, and we offer 2 scholarships a year to our drama majors.
Yeah.
So
And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm
amazing.
pretty jealous of that
Yeah.
because when I was here,
that would have been nice.
and then even then taking it even further with the other things that we offer, like here ourselves at STC is like STTA. Now that we do the STTA conference
Yeah.
here, where we try to push students to go to other schools and we bring down colleges and universities to audition, right?
and that's South Texas Theater auditions.
Yes, South Texas Theater auditions. That too, I was like, wow, they didn't have to pay for any of the applications that I had to pay for.
Yeah.
Like,
How
and
dare
they,
they?
and they got to see, they're getting to see like California, Colorado, Arkansas.
Sounds like you guys are turning into those
Cal
older
Arts.
people that are like,
Yeah.
I can't
Carnegie
believe it's so
Mellon.
easy for you people.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. But
Yeah.
I think that is also a fantastic opportunity that we've been giving our students because if I had it, I'll tell you what, like,
Been all
I know
over it.
Dani too. She would have like
Yeah.
totally like
My experience
benefit.
here, what really helped me when I was going to school here was the fact that my dad served in the Army. So I didn't know about the whole Hazelwood Act until like my second year here. I was also undecided the first year that I was here. I didn't know what I wanted to do or go to school for. And then I just
Did it?
got into theater, did a musical, and just fell in love with it.
She was in Spring Awakening,
I was.
and that was
This is
awesome.
our first show ever. Wow.
It
Wow.
was.
Great
And it
show.
was intense. But just the collaborativeness of stuff, if that's a word,
Yeah.
of it, you know, it just, you build really strong relationships. And yes, there's drama along the way, but when is there not drama in theater? Like, hello.
You're gonna have to be in theater to have drama. Might as well add that element to
Exactly.
make it fun.
And,
But
and
yeah, and then I remember
To make
taking his Jason's class and you know and being like, wow, this is a major, this is a thing. I guess I'll stick it out, and I did. And then I was kind of worried because I at that time wasn't getting any help financially, and then I got FAFSA and I started asking questions. That's another thing. I think a lot of our students and just students in general are really scared to ask questions.
Just ask
And it's so easy to just like ask a question,
Yeah.
and you'll be surprised. You'll get an answer if you're just
But like
persistent.
now, you don't even have to go and ask a person. You can literally go on your phone.
An email.
Yeah, that scholarship
Yeah.
would have been nice. It
And-
would have been nice.
No,
You
yeah.
know, and the
totally,
thing
dude.
is too, when you think about it, like just to have that power to ask,
Yeah.
and to have that, to be able to give yourself like
Use
that,
your voice.
say like use your voice and be able to ask that question. If you think about it, if we never asked for any of the stuff that we decided this is what we're going to do, we would have never have had it.
No.
We wouldn't have the virtual theater work. We wouldn't have had, you know, the camera. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Anahid. All these things, you know, because we wouldn't have asked,
Yeah.
you know? And again, it's just like, all you can do is ask.
And going back to what Rob said, like we needed to start thinking of the future of
Yeah.
theater, right? Which is that I think, yes, it's going to stay virtual personally. I think it's going to, but I really hope it also goes back to the traditional
it'll
Oh,
way.
go
yeah.
back to
it will
the
go
tradition.
back. 'cause
The
there's gonna be a mix.
documentation
Yeah.
and
But
all
there
of
was-
that
the
is
mix
going to
was
change
already starting.
everything.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could see that the mix was already
Yeah.
starting.
Yeah.
There was a lot of technology and a lot of, you know, new.
Yeah.
Just like Broadway
Once the-
musicals
yeah.
are filmed,
Once
but they're
the-
not you know, released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like until Hamilton decides
But even the
to
things
put
that
up
they use-
their
Even
musical
it was
on
just. I feel
Disney.
like as soon as that projector hit the stage,
it was,
that changed the whole.
Oh, yeah.
The whole experience.
that
Yeah.
those LED screens that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can, you know, you don't even need a projector
Instantly.
anymore.
No.
Those LED
Instantly
screens.
changing
Yeah.
scenery without having to go backstage and be pulling. Okay, just throwing this out there. Imagine if we had an LED screen.
That's what I was going to just say.
Wow.
That's my next
without,
ask.
like, we don't have fly space. So if we did have an LED screen to be able to do all of these transitions that
That
we
would be
needed
amazing.
to, that would be amazing. We
Yeah.
If
If
anyone
wouldn't
wants to
need
donate an
anything.
LED screen to STC,
yeah.
That would
mean,
be great.
you know, like we would avoid so many things.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it's what our theater needs
It
because
does.
we don't have the space.
Yeah.
Now we also don't have the money.
Right.
But, okay, so historically, so y'all know, like, because we're talking, Robert just mentioned that,
Yeah.
you know, like, we don't have depth. We have, like,
Yeah.
we don't have,
with
we have width
Mm-hmm.
of the stage, but we don't have the depth.
We don't have the
stage,
backstage of it.
The backstage of it that you would
And
need
the
to
fly
be able to,
space.
like, do that, or fly space. So, like, you know, when we did Peter Pan, we couldn't fly
Fly.
anybody because there was no fly space. But there's not a lot of depth. So like, you know, when it comes to transitions, if we wanted to move a locale or anything, you're kind of like, we're very limited.
Yeah.
And so I know that's been my thing. Like I've been watching like, you know, lots of theater stuff. And like one of the things I fell in love with the pandemic was watching, like as you were mentioning with archive stuff, the National Theater
Yeah.
in London,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
have
yeah.
archived and recorded so many of their productions, and so when you're watching it, you know they're using LED,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
LED screens, and all these things, and they're like, and I was just like, I want that,
Yeah.
you know,
That's the goal.
and it was just so beautiful to see what they were doing with, you know, with just digital imagery to be able to create the world, and there was like limited like, you know, sets being that needed to be there.
That's amazing.
You know,
we
and
try.
then just move in and
We
out.
try to do that a lot, but
You did that kind of with
archaically
Yes.
Yeah.
using
Our projectors.
projectors, scrim, you know.
Yeah.
So we tried to
Yeah.
do
Yeah, yeah.
have
And-
that sort of effect.
and it still made that effect.
Uh-huh.
But when you get something that huge, then you're able to like
Yeah.
be able to create this humongous world.
And well, visually it looks
And
so.
we did Turn of the
Vibrant.
Screw. I really
Turn
would
of
have
the
wished
Screw.
all of those things
Where
would have been
Screenplay.
television.
Yeah.
If we had the money, I would have been like, let's get 20, 30, 40 televisions,
Yeah.
And I mean,
hang them up, and you
and
know.
Yeah.
you know, it would literally create all the depth that we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we would I mean, our production value would skyrocket.
yeah.
Yes.
And
like visually.
Yeah.
Like but
taking
yeah,
it to the next
so
level.
LED screens, man.
It's on our wish list.
It's on the wish list.
So if
My
any of
Amazon
y'all
wish list.
Amazon wish
feel
list.
generous enough to
I mean, they
gift
probably
us
sell
an
them. They
LED
sell everything
screen.
else.
That would be nice.
And like, it doesn't have to be that big because if you've seen our stage,
Yeah.
she's a good size. Like
It's like a 30 by
She's
60.
Yeah,
she's
you
tall.
know.
She's
Yeah.
tall though.
She's good.
So like make sure it's tall.
Maybe we can like reach out to all the ISDs whenever the ISDs
Right.
decide to like let go of one of their jumbotrons from the stadium.
Oh man.
Be like, oh hey,
I
We'll
doubt
take
it.
it.
Throw that away, 'cause we'll take it.
What are you gonna do with that?
So yeah, this has been an interesting semester so far, and which brings us back to where we currently are now in this podcast, and giving you guys all of this information. We don't want to lose any of our audience members. That's the main reason why we're doing this too. We want to keep you guys involved. We want to keep you guys up to date with what we're doing.
And entertained.
Entertained. Don't think we're trying to like bore you guys. Like, we're just trying to find ways to keep you guys active with us without having to leave your home.
And stay connected with us.
And now with this too, is like that you get to meet the people behind everything that we do.
All the people that we're connected
All
to.
the people
'Cause
that
we do
we're
forget
connected
that
to.
there's a huge
There's a huge community
Yeah.
here.
community
Yeah.
of
It's
artists
grown
around here.
tremendously in the
And I
valley.
feel like there's still a lot of division, though. Not division, maybe, but isolation, because we're all so
Isolation.
busy doing our own thing. But
Yeah.
we need to,
Well, more
I
so
think,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
and start connecting more.
Yeah. But
I
So we
agree.
want to bring in all these people that we're
We
all
do.
different,
Yeah,
connected
totally.
to in a different capacity. We either work with them before, they're our friend, whatever, and we want you to get to know them as well.
Yeah.
So, we got to help each other out.
We do.
Yeah.
We have to support the arts. We're hurting, and we gotta, just stay connected, like you said. I think
Yeah.
that's
I
also
totally
the essence of theater. It's always been about working
Yeah.
together. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Should we ask him the
Final
the
question.
final question?
Sure.
Let's
So,
start
okay, so Jason, what do you think the future of theater is? Like, where do you think we're going, and
I
what do you
think
want to see?
I think that the future of theater, like we're at a point, because we just talked about pandemic. We didn't even like touch on the other aspect of it that's
Right.
happening. That's really, really shaking up like how we look at theater, and that's how looking at how we portray and tell stories in theater. So you have one aspect of it where you're looking at how the pandemic has affected us in the way that we're venturing into virtual theater and that digital work and all of that. And in some way, shape, or form, that's going to happen and continue to happen either in our production work, for those that in theaters that are doing education work and doing virtual instruction and things like that. Those things are going to still happen in some ways. I have a friend in Austin who's actually having their children taking theater classes somewhere in the East Coast.
Wow.
Like, how amazing is that?
Wow.
So that type of connection, I think, is always going to end up being there in some way, shape, or form. But that other aspect that I think that's really interesting is that how, with everything that's occurred with Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, with the Black Lives Matter protests, and all of that, is that other component, which is looking how theater is needing to stop for a moment and just basically look at what they do and who they are and tear it down and create something that is more reflective of the communities that we're in. And you're seeing a lot of that happening right now. So I think that in terms of like, as we venture forward, I think that you're going to see a change in theater where the companies, the boards, the staffing is going to be more reflective of who we are as a nation. There would be more BIPOC, like Black, Indigenous, people of color being represented in these theaters. But more importantly, who's on stage, who's telling the stories, who's producing, who's directing. Those things are going to be like more reflective of who we are, as a country and as a community. And I think that that's going to be the push. And I've seen that a lot. And that's part of like what my side work has been doing, has been working with the board I'm sit on, which is the American Alliance for Theater and Education.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing in conversations about within our own organization, but also that's what's happening across the country.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be the huge component of it now, is that we're going to see these two things starting to ramp up even more.
That's true. With that, do you have any advice to any upcoming thespians?
I think that the two things, I think it's always important to continue to like work on your craft, however that is, and to be open to explore new options and new possibilities. in your work. You know, if you're a performer, you know, starting to consider, okay, what other things can I do in terms of like doing production work? What is it? What's my other skill? So understanding like what your full skill set can be. And then I also think that other component of that is like just learning how to work with people, you know, and how to actually like be a person that is able to work really well with others. Because when you think about it, that's what the moneymaker is. If you're able to work well with somebody, if you're able to like really get along with your coworkers, your production team, your cast, that is what people are going to remember. Aside from the talent.
Understand that it's people prefer to work with someone who's more personable than rather than the person who's really, really talented, but they act like a freaking a-hole. You know, there's always going to be.
They're challenging.
That's. I mean, when I want to work with someone, I go for the one that's more personable and you're able to communicate with more effectively, and it's just better to be around.
Yeah.
I'd rather teach them some new skills than get the person who's really good but is very hard to work with.
Yeah.
And that goes for I think a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I think that's across the board with any field.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like what to, you know, not to toot our own horn, but I mean, it's just like, you know, I think that's why we've been able to do what we do and do so in such a way that has been successful because of the fact that we work really well together.
Yeah.
You know, and even when we have those rough patches, it's not like, wow, you know, we're able to like, hey, we need to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
we work through it.
And we work through it, you know, and sometimes I think those are the hard things that people like haven't, you know, that are still needing to work on is how do you work and move through, you know, conflict or a disagreement or what have you, and be mature and professional about it. You know, and I think those are the things that, you know, that's why we're here. That's what we try to, you know, show and work with our students with as well. You know,
That's very true. Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for taking the time to talk to us here at our space in our theater with this new podcast that we're trying
Attempting.
out. Yeah, for the Let's Talk Theater, the podcast.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for everything, and really appreciate the words you've given to our audience, our viewers.
Our listeners.
Guys, please don't forget, like,
Subscribe.
share, subscribe.
All those
like
other
we said,
things that
we
people
have
say on
all
YouTube.
social media,
Swipe up. Just kidding.
Facebook, Instagram,
Instagram.
all that good
Whatever.
stuff. So please, stay safe out there, wear your mask, social distance, and we hope that you guys continue hearing our podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.